Okay, so what is this master data, right? The master data is the repository to keep all your information about the customers, products, and other master entities. Master data is the one which doesn't change over a period of time, right? Like a transaction data, it keeps changing frequently, but master data, it will not change frequently, but it also a candidate to change. So for example, the customer information. The customer demographic information is not sacrosanct, it will change. But at the same time, the frequency of the change of the data is not on a day-to-day basis, right? So same is applicable to the product, activity, not activity, site, right? So all this has been called as a master data. So what happens is that you get the master data from multiple channels and multiple applications, and it gets integrated to the hub, which we call it as an MDM application suite. From the hub, you can generate analytics. You can use this information to feed back to your source system to make sure they have the golden record of either the customer or the product. So the source of clean data for the enterprise, that's what we call it as a MDM. And it is data, the MDM is one of the most valuable asset. Okay, so coming to the customer hub, right? So you have a lot of master data management applications suite. Why I've chosen a customer hub is that it is one of the very prominent solution, and it's almost like more than 8 years in the market, and it's been very successful. One of such product is a Siebel Universal Customer Master. Now it's also called as an Oracle Customer Hub. So today, the customer information doesn't come only from applications, only from channels. You also get to integrate and collect information from a lot of the social network sites, be it a LinkedIn, Facebook, Flickr, Yahoo, you name it. Your customer information is residing everywhere. Okay, so the application which is going to house the customer information should also have a capability to extract the information from all these sources. Okay, so that's where the need for the customer hub comes, not only to take the data from the internal applications as well as to take the data from the social network sites. Okay, so why you need a customer hub? One is to maximize your customer retention. So having a complete information about your customer will help you to approach your customer and makes the customer interaction more informative, as well as able to help him with the right services and product. And also it increases your selling efficiency. You know exactly what is the customer is looking for, right? Suppose if he buys a car, right? You know what is type of service that is required for him. When is after service or accessories that is required for him. So it will be able to help you to increase your cross-selling and upselling ability and reduce the cost and risk. As I mentioned to you earlier, looking at a banking industry, right? So if there are a lot of fraudulent activities happening, right, you will be able to cull out the black ships from your real valid customers. So that's where your customer hub helps you to find out the redundant customer record, refine them, and get the golden record, and associate all the transactions that are related to that particular customer in the hub. And it also publishes back to all the source systems. So every source system will have only one golden record of the customer. Okay, so a little more from a statistic perspective collected by Gartner. So it shows the customer of projects really benefited the organization. They were able to improve the CRM performance to increase revenue and market share. So customers on average generated 2 to 5% increased revenue from sales with MDM. And when it comes to operational efficiency, efficiency of operation increased with the improved processes and data governance. And efficiency of IT operating results in greater agility on a business models. The same is case with the compliance. So take for example in US, there is a lot of emphasis on the privacy, right? The privacy, when I say if a customer chose not to get a call or not to receive a direct mail from any of the companies, it has to be honored. If it is not going to be honored, the customer has the legal power to sue the particular company and take it to the extent even it can end up in a bankruptcy, right? So all this can be enforced using a customer hub in addition to having the CRM and ERP applications. So poor data quality is the most common reason why organizations do not realize the benefits of the data platform investment, including CRM, BI, and data warehousing. Okay, so there are different styles of customer hub. So we have registry style, consolidation style, and transaction style. So if you ask me, there is nothing like there is a best style the customer should go for. I mean, company or an organization should go for. It really depends on what is your vision for the MDM, right? Some companies may have a huge customer data. Some companies may have only a little of customer data. Take for example, a company like Boeing, right? The direct customers of Boeing or a few of the aircrafts, right, majors who may buy the aircraft and parts from Boeing. So altogether, if you put it, it couldn't be more than 10,000 customers or 15,000 customers. But if you take a retail unit where you have lakhs and lakhs of customers, so both of this requires a customer hub, right? And each of the business operations are different. So the customer hub itself has to go through a lot of changes to accommodate to this particular business groups. So in registry style, what we do here is that we collect all the customer record into the hub, cleanse them, match them, try to reduce the redundancy of the customer data and keep it in a repository. So this is not being fully integrated. So what you have is a repository of all your golden record of the customer hosted. This is registry style. So I would call it a simple and faster, and you may get short-term gain. Now we come to the consolidation style. The consolidation style is that where you can synchronize the data from the source systems, but you cannot really publish back the data to the source systems. So these hubs have been built predominantly for the reporting and analytics purpose. And I would call it as a medium complex implementation, and it could be a short to middle term gain. Now comes the real hub, which we call it as a transactional hub. The transactional hub is the one, it not only collects the customer record, cleanses it, and identifies the golden record, it also publishes back to the source system. So every source system will have something called subscribe and publish. What I mean by subscribe is that whenever a customer record is created in any of the source system, it will be automatically sent to the customer hub. In the customer hub, a profiling of the data is done. It will be cleansed, standardized, matched with any of the records of the customer already existing. If it is a duplicate, it gets merged and you get a golden record of the customer that in turn is published back to the source system. Now the source systems, if they already have the same customer record but with incorrect data, with the facility hub provides as well as with the integration, the incorrect data is replaced with the golden record of the customer, which is perfected and it's the right information about the customer. Okay, so I want to talk a little more about Oracle Enterprise Master Data Management, which I specialize in. I know very little about the other MDMs, but we can take Oracle as more or less like a sample, right? Because it has got a very good functionalities to address a lot of the data quality issues, which is very common if you take IBM InfoSphere or Informatica's Hyperion. So look at from the perspective of the functionality rather than tagging this as an Oracle product. Okay, so you see here it requires a middleware for us to real-time integrate to the source system. Then you also need an analytics MDM to see how much of the records have been cleansed, standardized, and how much of the golden records have been generated. And then you need an enterprise data quality, right? So this forms the foundation for any MDM product. Then you have all the different MDM product suites. You have customer hub, you have supplier hub, you have financial hub, also Hyperion. I mean, it's a combination of financial transaction hub and Hyperion, and you have a site hub and you have a product hub. and it also has a database, not necessarily an Oracle database, it could be any database, right? So the subscribing applications you see CRM, ERP, and it could also be a legacy application. You also get to see EPM and business intelligence culling out the data for the analytics purpose. So this is how a master data management application suite looks like. Okay, so coming back again to the customer hub solution. So these are the players in the customer hub solution. So you get to see IBM, Oracle. Within Oracle, you have CWCM as well as Oracle Customer Data Hub. Then you have SAP, Data Flags, Visionware, and all this. So each of these companies and products, they have their own strength. So even though it has been mentioned as IBM and Oracle being a leader, Cyprian itself actually is gaining momentum, and you can see a lot of projects happening in Europe with Cyprian after the acquisition of Informatica. Right? But the entire chart shows you that actually every other blue chip vendor is focusing on the master data management and especially on the customer hub solutions. Okay, so what constitutes a customer hub? There are three components to a customer hub, right? One is the data quality, second is the application integration architecture, and third is the data governance manager and analytics. So data governance manager is the one we are going to see it in detail. It's more of a strategic than a technology oriented. So a art of the customer hub depends on the integration, data quality, and the data governance. And you see when you load the first time data, normally it is done through a batch integration process. You bring in the customer records from multiple applications and use the Oracle data quality to cleanse it. The real-time architecture comes in place when you have mastered the golden record of the customers and you publish it back to the different source systems. Okay. Here you see a sample solution architecture of a customer hub. So it is not very specific to any customer. It is just a sample, right? So don't give too much importance to the application names that were given there. Okay. So what you see, customer hub, and it's been integrated to the multiple applications. So you have Oracle ERP, Clarify, Oracle Siebel, Salesforce, Neolane. So all these source applications, they are source of the customer data, right? They send the customer data to the customer hub, and if you see the double arrows, right, it mentions to you also. So this data gets published back to the, which is once again some information which are not residing in your source system. Then how do you enrich the customer data? The question here is that suppose Dun & Bradstreet provides you a lot of intelligent customer information. So you can enrich your customer information. Say for example, you want to know about the credit worthiness of a customer, right? So this may not be coming from your source system. So you have to integrate to a credit worthy system. It could be a DNB, or it could be like a CARE, Chrysler, and all these ratings agencies. They'll give you more information about your customer and you can enrich the customer data. Again, as I mentioned to you, from the MDM, it pulls out the data and it's been used for analytics and data warehouse. So when you talk about analytics, right, the analytics tool is really, the robustness of analytics tool really depends on the quality of the data, right? You may build a beautiful analytics system, but if you don't have the right information, it is going to throw back a junk as a dashboard. So it's very important to get the record cleansed from the hub, pass it to the source system, then you apply the analytics tool to get the right dashboards. Okay, so this is a reiteration of what we have discussed. So if you look at the key components of a customer app, or for that matter any MDM product suite, it could be a product or a supplier app. First is a consolidate, right? You have to consolidate all your master data information from multiple source systems. If you take Oracle Customer App, so what are the functionalities it are providing? It provides an import workbench. Not necessarily the data should be migrated. You should also be given a tool where you can use an Excel to import the data into the hub, into the data cleanse. So that is one of the functionality. Then identification and cross-reference. So when a data comes into the customer hub, how do you know the data is coming from a CRM or a ERP? So it has to be tagged with an identification and cross-reference ID. Source data history, this is very important. Say for example, when the data is coming, right? And there could be the same data coming from the same source system after 2 days or a week time. How do you maintain the audit trail of the data? That's what the source data history about. And rule-based surveyorship rule, this is very important. You have to say which system carries the maximum weightage of your data. Take for example, you have an ERP system which is sending the customer information, also a CRM system. Now you would say the CRM system carries 80% of the weightage when it comes to the customer. ERP system carries 40%. So if an address change is coming from an ERP system and from a CRM system, because the weightage of a CRM system is 18%, the CRM system change would be updated in the hub and it will be published back to the ERP system. And it could be vice versa when it comes to a product. For a product, ERP will have the maximum weightage and CRM will have a less weightage. Okay, so net, the idea is that you can define the strength of your source system to update the hub. Then you talk about a cleansing. So cleansing is very specific to the tool which you're going to use as a data quality tool in your MDM project. Oracle has multiple versions of data quality applications. They have something called Informatica Data Quality and the recent acquisition Datanomics, which they're calling it as an Oracle Enterprise Data Quality. So, or you can also use Trillium, Informatica, the other tools data quality. So what is most important is this functionality. It should be able to merge and unmerge data. We also talked about enriching the data, that is taking the information from the reliable source and to improve the customer data. The other important thing is address validation, right? So you should have all the information about a specific country, even if a wrong address comes in, right? To a certain extent, you should be able to correct it. That is called address validation. Then data decay. What you mean by data decay is that suppose if your customer record is not being changed for a year, it shows you there is something wrong with the data. That is, the source system is not really updating the data and sending it to you. So you set your own rules to check on the data decay. And multiple languages. This is very, very important. Suppose if you have a person by name Mr. Robert, right? The Robert, you will see it in English, and the Robert, you may also get it in Spanish, then in Arabic. So multiple language. Within multiple language, how do you match the records? Whether a particular customer hub or a data quality solution provides you the ability to match the same customer information in different languages. That's very important. Then we talk about the integration part. So the integration tool you're going to use, whether it could be a Fusion middleware, TIBCO, BizTalk, whatever it may be, whether it has the right framework to have all the web services, because everything now is based on XMLs, right? So does it have the good collection of the web services library? Publish and subscribe functionalities are available. Does it support all the connectors and transporters? When I say connectors, Oracle builds some connectors between different ERPs and customer hub solutions. So do they have the connectors? And registry and authorization. The last but not the least, the data governance part, very important, right? So you may have all the wonderful system, the great data, but if you don't have a data governance in place, right, all this may not be really useful, okay? So the organization should define the right policies, processes, and people, right, to take care of the data, who should own the data, who has the ability to change data. All this has to be defined. This we call it as the governance. Okay, some examples of the customer data quality issues. Okay, so the one that is highlighted, so you get to see two matching records, right? Bob Williams and Robert Williams. They are the same records, but a redundant information. Then coming to the non-standard formats, you look at the telephone number, they are on a different format. Some are with hyphens, some are like without hyphens, some are with space and all this. Then you see a misfielded data, where in place of an email, you get to see a number. There are missing data. Then typos. Say for example, the city name is Newton, somebody has misspelled it. And you have also the multiple names in the name field. And you have mixed business and contact names. This is an ideal scenario where you would get to see in any company. It could be a Fortune 500 company, or it could be a small retail unit, or it could be even if you take a small proprietary departmental stores, if they're maintaining any information about the customer, right? This is what you get to see. So this tells you the importance of having a master data management solution, especially if you're looking at customer. This is what you need. So if you go on a data quality path, what happens is that a lot of people ask me when I go for this consulting, why should I go for an MDM project, right? I can very well use the data quality and get it cleansed. So it is basically, I would say, yes, it's possible, but you should really discipline your organization, because every channel, every employee who is going to enter this data, they should primarily take the ownership of the data they're entering. And if they are disciplined, we don't need any solution. But because of the volume of business and the amount of pressure the employees and channels, whatsoever the data that, whatever the channels are giving the information, right, you get to see this type of junk information coming, and it may lead into a different issue. Say for example, Robert Williams and Bob Williams. If you're not able to differentiate, if you're not able to identify them as the same customer, then there is a lot of fraudulent activities is possible with this type of data. So Robert Williams record may have a lot of default on the payments, but still you go and give the same customer, recognizing him as a Bob Williams, another product or a service. Okay, so